So what if you have a YouTube video series built mostly on good news, and yet you've had a really weird run of weeks? Well, you choose a whiskey that has both an expert and challenge level. That's the good news. Hey, welcome back to the Whiskey House. I'm Corey, and man, it's been a weird little bit of a run, I must say. Yeah, camp got canceled. Was really looking forward to Foster Teen Camp, and that didn't happen. The wife had a blowout on an on-ramp leaving an airport, so I got to change a tire on the side of a freeway. And Texas and Oklahoma are trying to kill the Big 12. What is going on? So it's time to get back in the game, and we are going bold. Boom, Stagg Jr., the booze that says Junior in the name, and yet, nothing Junior about this. So batch number 12 of Stagg Jr., a staggering 132 plus proof. Yeah, so Stagg Jr., the first time you have it is something where you're like, dear Jesus, how do I drink this? And after you've had it, you're like, dear Jesus, how do I find more of it? Or how do I get lucky enough in the bottle allocation to find it anymore? So it's definitely big boy whiskey, right? And if you get it at retail, it punches well above its weight class. It is just so much brown sugar. I mean, that's kind of the calling card for me for Stagg Jr. most of the time. That molasses brown sugar taste, a little bit of cherry and honey. And there it is. Just that huge, huge brown sugar hit. Why do you taste so good, right? We'd sing more of the song, but that Rolling Stones ditty gets a little dirty. So Stagg Jr. kind of drinks in all caps all the time, right? Like brown sugar in all caps, and vanilla in all caps, and oak and cherry in all caps. And that's a little bit of a older brother that's a little more refined, of course, which kind of like my kids. My older child, calm, cool, complex. My youngest is a redhead who runs around most of the time on fire. So yeah, he's definitely the Stagg Jr. of the bunch. It's so good. So again, it's been a weird run of weeks. And to try to get back centered, if you will, it's not always a drinking proposition. Sometimes it's a find your center proposition. And as a dude who tends to be relentlessly positive, I found it again in Ted Lasso. If you are not watching this show on Apple Plus, holy cow. If you like any of this kind of video series, like this is the show for you. And it hits home for me a little bit as well, as Jason Sudeikis, not only is he from Kansas, but a brilliant actor. I'm not a brilliant actor, just from Kansas. But he's trying to become an American football coach to go coach soccer in Europe, and it's hilarious. And I have kids who like soccer and not football. So as a former football guy, I had to figure out how to coach soccer myself. And yeah, it was a little similar. So Ted Lasso is not just great because of the whole fish out of water football versus football thing, but also because they do make an attempt to teach you a little bit of life lessons now and again, and be a goldfish kind of leading among them. Be a goldfish means, you know, the goldfish has the shortest memory of any animal on the planet. So just kind of forget and keep moving forward, which at this point works pretty well. So in addition to seeming like the kind of dude that you'd like to have a drink with, Jason Sudeikis, who stars in Ted Lasso, is also part of the Kansas City crew that helps put on the Big Slick every year. Guys who came from Kansas, become Hollywood big time, if you will, and now keep coming back to raise money for Children's Mercy Hospital. So it's Sudeikis and Paul Rudd and Rob Riggle and Eric Stonestreet, and they come back every year, put on a charity baseball and softball event, a poker tournament, and donate all of the cash right back to their hometown. So dudes who came from Kansas, made it big in Los Angeles, and kind of bring all that right back home. And for that, man, that deserves a drink for sure. So cheers, gentlemen. So in a time when you have a weird couple weeks, be a goldfish is important, be curious, not judgmental, important, and all the other Ted Lassoisms, like believing in yourself and surrounding yourself with a good team. And that's kind of the way that works. And let me tell you, when I'm having a weird week, my bourbon and whiskey people are some of my best people. You know who you are. And this bottle's waiting for you next time you're over at the old 813 Whiskey House, all right? Hey, so here's the thing. Listen, I own a ton of Apple products. I am not a paid endorser of the Ted Lasso program, although it makes me feel good. So that's the kind of thing you share, right? Share a little good booze, share a little good news, and things that help cheer us up. And man, that show certainly does that. So let's try to beat this next week 1-0. That's a soccer term. And we'll catch you here next week. Like, subscribe. believe, be a goldfish, and we'll see you next week, Coach. Let's score some goals.